Okay, I know everyone is worried about the future and really even the present right now. We've got gas and grocery prices to worry about. There are chemicals in our food that we can't get rid of. AI is about to take over the world, apparently, or at least take our jobs. So, who has the emotional capacity right now to look backwards? Well, looking back is a good thing sometimes, especially when things from the past have not really been resolved, especially when we're very much living with the consequences of things that happened in the past. And of course, I am talking about the 2024 election. What really happened there? People on the left are much less willing to just dive headfirst into some kind of conspiracy theory, particularly one having to do with election interference. Trump spent the last 6 or so years claiming that the 2020 election was stolen from him. He made that claim before the 2020 election had even taken place. And there was even actual evidence that he himself, not just his cronies, but Trump himself, tried to tamper with the election results. We all remember his infamous phone call with Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Mr. Secretary, was the president here asking you for exactly what he wanted? One more vote than his opponent.
What I knew is that we didn't have any votes to find. We had continued to look. We investigated, like I just shared the numbers with you. There were no votes to find. That was an accurate count that had been certified. And as our general counsel said, there was no shredding of ballots.
And yet, without any evidence supporting Trump's claim that the election was somehow stolen from him, his supporters, who had already been primed to believe that a Trump loss meant that the Dems had cheated, stormed the Capitol on January 6th because in their minds, yes, there was no way that Trump could not have won. Never mind the fact that he did not even win the popular vote in 2016, and never mind the fact that he had not been a popular president while he was in office. And here on the left, we're not trying to do any of that, and maybe that's by design. The architects of the stolen election scheme admitted that Trump's claims of a stolen election was an actual premeditated strategy and scheme.
The Democrats, more of our people vote early that count. Theirs voted mail. And so they're going to have a natural disadvantage, and Trump's going to take advantage of it. That's our strategy. He's going to declare himself a winner. So when you wake up Wednesday morning, it's going to be a firestorm. We're going to have Antifa crazy, the media crazy, the courts are crazy, and Trump's going to be sitting there mocking, tweeting out, you lose. I'm the winner. I'm the king. And he'll be all over. He'll be going, where's Hunter? Is Hunter on a crack pipe? I mean, no, he'll be, because then it doesn't matter. Remember, here's the thing. After then, Trump never has to go to a voter again. He's going to fire Ray, the FBI director, and fire the He's going to say, F you. How about that? Because he's never going to, he's done his last election. Oh, he's going to be off the chain. He's going to be crazy. Also, if Trump is losing by 10 or 11 o'clock at night, it's going to be even crazier. No, because he's going to sit right there and say they stole it.
Agree.
I'm directing the Attorney General to shut down all ballot places in all 50 states. It's going to be no. He's not going out easy. If Biden's winning, Trump is going to do some crazy shit.
But surely people like Steve Bannon know that the left is wary of appearing conspiratorial. They know that the left, generally speaking, does not like to leap into something until we have at least some information. We like to think before we act. Some could argue maybe a bit too much. Some could argue that we could stand to take more action sometimes than we typically do. So when there was evidence that there was some foul play from the Trump camp during the 2024 presidential election, the left didn't cause very much of a ruckus. We didn't want to sound like the people we had just spent the last 4 years criticizing and making fun of. Now, guess who is back with the tea? It is Ashley St. Clair, again, a former right-wing influencer who had a child with Elon Musk. Now she's in the process of deconverting, but she has also been attempting to atone for the damage she's done with the rhetoric and the ideology she helped to spread. Whether or not you think she's grifting is your prerogative, but either way, she's saying some things now that honestly, like, how has she not been sued yet? She does allude in her latest video that she was offered money to shut up, but she was primarily speaking about Elon Musk allegedly suggesting to her that yes, he interfered in the 2024 election in an effort to help Trump win the White House.
And then October rolls around. And in October, Elon tells me that he is ready to release his, in his words, anomaly in the Matrix. And I am like, oh, like, who's that? And he says that he has 10,000 lasers in space, referring to his satellites. I say, because I am like rather uncomfortable and I know the gravity of what he's trying to tell me right now, I say, wow, finally a focus on the Jewish vote. He keeps going and he says, you know, this is not this is not a piece that they'll see on the chessboard. And I straight up tell him, I say, I would ask more, but I really don't want to be deposed. To which he says, very wise.
So prior to the 2024 election, Elon tells her that he's got 10,000 satellites in space, his so-called anomaly in the matrix, which is not something that people like you or I would ever really hear about, let alone be able to track. So what is he doing with all those satellites? Well, he's got these Starlink satellites orbiting the Earth, and he says he wants to start building data centers in space, but it's unclear how exactly these satellites were used for election tampering, allegedly. There are a few theories on how it was done floating around on social media, but none obviously have been confirmed. People debunking the theories argue that voting machines are not connected to the internet, so Starlink satellites would not have had access to the data. Anyway, but let's hear more on that from Ashley.
Shortly after that, you know, he's involved with America PAC and all of this other stuff, and he's sending me some internal data from America PAC, real-time Delta vote metrics. And I am just like, how the fuck do you have this sort of data? You don't get this from door knocking, because that was one of my first jobs in politics was in campaigns and cleaning up this bad data from door knocking, because the vendors that America PAC is using at this point is a vendor that hires Craigslist crackheads for door knocking, and I wish I was exaggerating there, but I'm not.
America PAC, just a reminder, is the conservative PAC started by Elon Musk in 2024. However, even as he's the head of the PAC, the voter data he was sending to Ashley seemed to her to have been questionably obtained based on what she knows about the PAC's operations. The real-time data is particularly perplexing, so here's more on that.
And then on election night itself, Elon, you know, left Mar-a-Lago early. I was at Mar-a-Lago, and he told me over text, he's like, yeah, I knew hours ago that Trump won. My team has the best real-time data anywhere. First of all, how the fuck do you have real-time data on elections? How do you have real-time data? I could not understand that. I don't know that I ever will.
According to her, Elon knew before anyone else did that Trump had won the election, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense considering how long it typically takes to count ballots. This isn't necessarily new information that she's revealing here, but I've said before that it always helps when people who used to be on the inside of things speak out. And this is what we want, right? This is what the left has been asking for so long, for these people to wake up to what's really going on, for them to stop enabling bad people, for them to speak out about the bad things they know about or even were a part of. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to offer anyone a soft landing. How you deal with people is up to you, but she did speak a little bit in this clip about how she's trying to balance speaking out without being silenced by higher powers. She does also say at one point that there are others who can corroborate everything she's saying in this video. I'll end with this. Here she is speaking with Mehdi Hasan about one of the biggest issues I think many of us probably have with the overall functions of the Republican Party.
These influencers online who are getting together to kind of push these campaigns, often quite hate-filled, bigoted campaigns, how dangerous are they? Because on the one hand, you want to laugh and mock them because they're weirdos and freaks. On the other hand, real-world violence comes out of some of these posts and statements online. Do you believe they're dangerous, these groups that you were part of, in terms of real-world political violence?
Yes. And one thing I will say is that most of these influencers, including myself, while we contributed to harm, we were used, and they are being used as pawns for much more powerful people. And to hyperfixate on someone like Libs of TikTok or a Rashik, who is a cerebral speed bump. She's nothing more than a cognitive traffic cone. There's not much going on up there. Rather than putting the ire on the elected representatives and the elected officials and the people of the upper classes who are promoting this, I think is a mistake. I think there needs to be much more ire for the people in positions of power who are promoting these individuals.
And I'll let her have the last word there, because while that is something that a lot of us here know and understand deeply, it is a much less common sentiment on the right. Mehdi Hassan has got a very left-leaning outlet, so hopefully similar messages are reaching more right-leaning audiences. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.